Welcome into sportsbookreview.com. My name is Christopher Giannini, and this is the closing line show for week number 7. So excited to be with you guys. It's not the biggest day in college football history, but there are some amazing games going on this week. Don't think that this is going to be one of those weeks where it's okay to let the significant other pull you into the pumpkin patch or the apple picking, guys. You're going to want to be in front of a TV. We've got one of the biggest games of the year going on right now. We didn't think it was going to be that big before the season started. And I'm not talking about undefeated versus undefeated in the SEC. I'm talking about going to Neyland Stadium. I'm talking about checkering the stadium out. I'm talking about Tennessee, Ole Miss. If you like points, this one's going to come in bunches, okay? I cannot believe that this is one of the biggest games of the year. Never would have guessed it before the season started, but I am fired up. It's going to be a good week of football. Let's just have a good time with it. Now, you guys always send me DMs, which are always appreciated. You can also email me if somebody ever wants to. Nobody's ever emailed me, but it's at chris@winningcureseverything.com. But then you leave some comments. Not a lot of people left in comments with the games. I got a couple of DMs of games we didn't talk about or I didn't hit on enough. And some of them I've got opinions about. Some of them I do not. So we'll just go through there, okay? Start off with Michigan State going to Indiana. This line is 4. Michigan State -4, I should clarify. Penix is either going to play really hurt or he's not going to play at all. And I'm not 100% sure which one of those we're going to get, by the way. I almost don't, it doesn't matter. Excuse me. It almost doesn't matter to me at all which one we get. I think this Michigan State offense is doing something different with Mel Tucker. The defense has been unbelievable. They are suffocating people. They just don't give you any space to move. And that makes it really difficult, especially for a running quarterback. But even if he doesn't play, it doesn't really matter. They kind of given everybody fits. In the offense doesn't make a lot of mistakes. They don't turn the ball over. They don't commit penalties. And they run the ball down your throat. They're getting 4 and 5 yards a touch. And when they're doing that, it just wears a defense down. Now, I love Tom Allen. We know this, okay? And I really like this Indiana team. I think they're good, and I think they're at home. I just think Michigan State's too good right now. So if I had to make a play on this game, which I don't, but if I had to make a play on this game, I'd give you Michigan State -4. I'd lay the points there, I think. Next game that someone asked about, I don't know if we talked a little bit about it or not. Nebraska going to Minnesota. This is an interesting game because I think both of these teams are a little bit similar. All right. I don't know that I think either one of these coaches are great, but if I had to pick one, I'd pick Fleck over Scott. I think Nebraska is playing better right now than Minnesota. I think that's a true statement. The difference is I think Minnesota's at home. I think Nebraska finds themselves in close games all the time. I was really close to leaning more Nebraska here because of the way they've played, the way they fought all year. But I also think they find themselves in these ugly, weird, close games a lot. And if they're going to be a close game, and I got the home team plus points, I'm over a field goal. I'm 4.5. I think I'm going to take those points. I think I'll take PJ Fleck and the boys. I don't really like anything Minnesota does, but I don't really like any one thing that Nebraska does either. They're both kind of in weird fluxes right now as a program, and it should be a hell of a game. I think I'm going to go with the Gophers on that one. I like the points at home. That's kind of the biggest thing. A&M going to Missouri. Now, this is interesting. This is a 100% prime letdown spot. And I'm surprised I didn't talk about this game before because I actually have a unique thought on it. I thought this line was going to open. I should have talked about it in the opening line show. I thought this line was going to open up around A&M -15. Something. I mean, I thought it was going to be a big number. They just beat Alabama, and they kind of, the first half, beat the hell out of Alabama. And the last, 5-7 minutes of the fourth quarter kind of beat the hell out of Alabama. And I thought, oh, and then Missouri's just been garbage. So I thought this was going to be a big number. It was going to be a great opportunity to fade A&M on a big letdown spot. But here's the problem. I think the books are getting smarter. I think the people who do this for a living know that. They know everybody wants to fade A&M coming off that big win. And they're getting a little sharper. And this line opened up at 11. And it's just so much smaller than I ever thought it would be. I don't think this Missouri team's very good. I don't know they do anything well at all. I would say offensively they're pretty good, but I don't even know that. I think they've looked good against bad defenses, but when they play anybody with a competent defense, they can't score. Tennessee, I don't think has a good defense, and they had Tennessee at home, and Tennessee kicked the crap out of them. Like they couldn't score at all against UT's defense. So I think A&M's defense is significantly better. I think we'll see a little bit of a letdown. Here's the thing. Everyone has told me, I've had this conversation back and forth with friends, and they're like, yeah, but this A&M team's not going to look anything like they looked against Alabama. They don't have to. If they look like, hear me out, if they look like the way they looked at Alabama against Alabama last week, they would beat this team by 28 points. All right, they just beat the hell out of them. I don't think they're going to do that, but I think they'll cover the 11. Okay, so yes, they can have a massive letdown compared to what they did against Alabama and still win this game by 14. I mean, that's just true. Look at how Missouri's played and look how disappointing they've been. So that's where I'm going on that one. Next game up. I didn't talk about this game simply because I don't know what to do with it. I know what I want to do, and I know what I want to happen, and I'll give you a side here. I've got Pitt going to Va Tech. Virginia Tech is a weird team right now that is struggling so bad to win close, tight ball games. They find themselves in these situations all the time. I think they're a good team. I think they're significantly better than I thought they were before the season started. They were all in on that Notre Dame game. Will they have any kind of, overflow from that loss? I don't know. I think Pitt is a really good football team. I think Pat Narduzzi is a great coach. He doesn't get the respect that he deserves. That's my fault. I don't talk about him enough. I can't just blame others. They've got an offense at Pitt that I'm not used to them having. They're normally a defensive first, run the football kind of thing. They throw the ball all over the field this year. They don't run it hardly at all. I'm really curious to see this Va Tech team. I'm going to take Va Tech, and I'm going to take Va Tech plus the points. I get 6.5 of them, almost a touchdown. I think this could be another one of those weird, tight, hard-fought football games. I just want to see Va Tech start winning some of these things now. And then my other philosophy about why I'm taking the points in this game is I get the home team with almost a touchdown. That's good, and that makes sense. But I also have a chaos theory of the ACC. I don't think anybody's great. I think everybody's coming out of that conference with 2 or 3 losses. And if that's the truth, then I need Pitt to start losing some of these games. And that means they're going to find themselves in coin flip games in which they're going to lose. So give me the Hokies, and I'll take almost a touchdown at home. And then the next game I was asked about was very similar in thought process, but different, a little different style of game. I'm going to watch every second of this game, and I'm super excited about it. NC State's going to Boston College. I think these are 2 of the best 3 teams, 4 teams. I would throw Pitt in that conversation in the ACC. I think they're both playing. Now, I had expectations of NC State. I've said all along, I thought when we thought Clemson was going to be the juggernaut of the season, I thought NC State was going to be clearly the number 2 best team in the country. That was when everybody was touting UNC and Miami. And I said, no, look out for the Wolfpack. I think they're going to be that. I think they're the best team in the conference. I keep saying country. People keep calling me out and laughing at me, and it's fine. You absolutely have the right to. They're not the best team in the country. I'm trying to say they're the best team in the conference. If you're going to be the best team in the conference, you got to go up to Boston and you got to beat Boston College. You just have to. The line's short. You're laying a field goal right now. I think that line's going to get smaller. I might be wrong about that. But I think I would take the Wolfpack. But this is one of those where I don't have a lot of a feeling because I love this BC team. I love what they are doing. I think they're an exciting football team to watch. And those are games that I didn't talk a whole lot about earlier in the week. And so those are our missed games. Let's move into the picks recap. Telling you what I got, guys. First thing, I know this doesn't count to my win-loss record that is completely and utterly putrid. All right. It's just garbage. But I I I did give you Louisiana, and I did give you Louisiana on the money line, and I said they'd beat App State. I didn't think they'd beat the hell out of App State. They absolutely did that on Tuesday night. Gave you that one if you watched my opening line show. Gave you Syracuse. Gave you the under against Syracuse and Clemson. Had a little money sprinkled on the money line. Broke my heart last night. I really wanted it. I'm starting to get a little greedy. Once you win a couple of bets and you know you're going to win a couple of bets, you start getting greedy and you want to win more. And then lastly, I had Cal last night as well. Gave you that pick. Gave you that play. Cal played great. Cal covered. And this is exactly what you're supposed to do. So we're going into the day doing pretty good. All right. Now, Saturdays, and I've done that several weeks, by the way. Saturdays is where it all falls apart, guys. It just turns into a complete disaster. But here's what my picks are. I'm taking Wazoo. I'm going up to Washington State. I'm taking the Cougars. I got them plus 1.5 versus Stanford at home. I think my boy Rolo's got a quarterback. When he's got a quarterback, he's scary. I keep getting told that Stanford's one of these roller coaster games. 1 week they're up, 1 week they're down. You want to bet against them every other week. Look, I don't think it works out like that all the time. I think this team is just bad, and sometimes, teams just don't play them well. Whatever. I think they're going to go on the road, and I think they're going to lose this game. I get to start out with a 1.5 point head start. Next game, staying in the state of Washington, I'm staying with UCLA. I've ridden them a lot this year, guys, and it hasn't always been fun. It hasn't always paid off, but I'm not getting off this horse. I think they're the better football team. I don't respect Washington. That line is them plus 1.5 as well. So I'm taking two teams in the state of Washington plus 1.5. Then I got Utah State. That line is -7. That's what I got at. It's still there. They're on the road at UNLV. And I just don't think this Rebels team for UNLV is very good at all. And I like the come up that that Utah State is. I think they are an incredibly much improved football team over the last years, and they just are playing better football week in and week out. I like teams that get better the longer the season goes. I think this is an offense that can put up points. I absolutely think they can beat the Rebels of UNLV by more than a touchdown. Going to Iowa. Didn't get the best line. So I laid 11.5 earlier in the week. You can clearly find this line at 11 at several places. Going against Purdue. I don't think Purdue's very good. Purdue has played 3 Big Ten teams in a row, and all 3 of them, they've scored 13 points. All 3 of those Big Ten teams, none of them have a very good defense, okay? None of them. With that being said, Iowa has an unbelievable defense. And I think Iowa is going to beat the crap out of it. I know everyone's saying this is a great letdown spot. I'm kind of fading the idea of the letdown here. The teams that I think are really good, okay? And they get to stay at home. This is not one of those situations like A&M where you get a letdown because you're now going on the road after being at home. They get to stay at home. They get the friendly confines of Kinnick. And I just think they're too good of a team. They do things that don't cause them to lose games. They don't turn the ball over. They do not commit penalties. And listen, it's the same thing I said about Michigan State. This is how teams without just slews of 5-stars on the roster have to play to win great football games. You have to win, not just win the turnover battle. You have to not turn the football over at all. You have to not commit penalties. You have to take the football away and get yourself extra possessions. That's what this team does, okay? They would much rather punt than kick field goals because they trust their defense that much. So laying those 11.5 points against Purdue. Purdue couldn't score 13 against Illinois and Minnesota. They're not coming close to scoring 13 against against Iowa. And then my last game, I'm going to OK State. Now, got a lot of value here. So I got this game early in the week at plus 5.5. It's right now the best number you're getting is 3.5 anywhere I've seen. And I like OK State. I think Texas does have a little bit of a hangover. I think Casey Thompson's going to play because that guy looks like a tough guy. He looks like a warrior, but a busted up thumb on your throwing hand is not something I enjoy. There's a world where he's not in this game by the fourth quarter. And this is the best defense in the Big 12, guys. Oklahoma State, I know it sounds crazy to say, but Oklahoma State is, and it's not close. They're one of the best defenses in the country. I think this might be the best defense Texas plays all year, and I really like that Arkansas defense that gave them fits. Now, they're at home instead of being on the road like they were in Fayetteville, but I still think this is an opportunity for a team to actually hit them in the mouth. We're going to see how they respond after being hit in the mouth, okay? But I think that's a unique situation they haven't found themselves in. I love that I've got 2 points head start on everybody else trying to get that number today, but I like OK State in that game. Prop play of the day. I struggled finding because I like doing team totals for these. I struggled finding a team total that I loved. And I haven't been great on these by any stretch of the imagination. So I looked at Auburn. Auburn's team total is 24.5. I think I'm going to go under. I think Arkansas, after getting their butt whipped by Georgia and then giving up 52 points against Ole Miss last week, I think they want to be a defensive football team. I think they want to play good defense. They want to run the football. All right. I think they're going to have something for Bo Nix. I think they're going to slow this game down. I really do. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think they're going to find ways to mitigate those big plays. They tackle way better than what Auburn has gone up against outside of the Georgia game. And I just think they're going to find ways to slow this thing down. Give me the Auburn team total of minus of 24.5. Give me the under on that thing. I'll take that. And then we move into the money dog special, the underdog special, the money line special. This is where I bet on these underdogs. I bet them straight up. I need one more number that I got to look up, the actual spread of it. There we go. I got 6 that I'm going to play today. One I don't love at all. But I'm going to play it simply because I just woke up this morning with a weird feeling that it's going to be different. It's just going to be way different, and I don't want to see it happen. I'm going to take Minnesota plus the plus 165 to win that game outright. I think they can win that game. I just told you all the reasons I like Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State's going to be in that game. I think Oklahoma State has a chance to win that game. You got them at plus 148. I got TCU. I know this looks foolish, okay? This just looks foolish. TCU plus 420. It's a big number, guys. It's a big number. You're playing a really good football team, okay? So you're not expecting to win that game. That's why you get over 4-1 odds on betting them to win straight up. It's really hard to do. I just think Oklahoma keeps finding themselves in these close games. And at some point in time, this game is not played with a normal ball that's round. It's oblong shaped. It's going to bounce the other way. If you play with fire long enough, you're eventually going to get burned. One of these teams is going to get Oklahoma. Okay. I don't know who it's going to be, but if I'm getting 4-1 odds on you now, I'm just going to keep playing it. And I just need to hit 1 out of 4. And so I'm getting over the 4-1 odds here. I'm taking it. Kansas State's hosting Iowa State. Iowa State has been probably the most disappointing team in the Big 12 this year. They had playoff hopeful aspirations before the season started. Listen, let me give you a little advice out there to coaches that are holding lottery tickets, okay? Those things have a shelf life, all right? Last year, Matt Campbell could have picked any job in the country. That's NFL and college, and said, I would like that open job. And he would have gotten it. Okay. And he would have gotten a hell of a pay raise. Now, if you love it in Ames and things are happy there, then that's great. It's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with being happy where you're at. Okay. I'm a firm believer of that. Okay. By the way, if you are ever going to leave, at some point in time, you got to cash that lottery ticket in, because I'm going to tell you, your phone ain't ringing this year the way it was ringing last year. All right. That lottery ticket has now gotten shredded. You're now no longer going to find somebody willing to pay you $9 million a year to come coach their football team. It's just not going to happen. So not that money means everything, but it's gone. I think Iowa State's going to find themselves in a dogfight at Kansas State. Manhattan has been a very difficult place to go play on the road. That crowd shows up. That team plays different at home. They're not a juggernaut by any stretch of the imagination, but if Skylar's healthy and upright, I kind of like that team to have a shot to pull that upset off. I get plus 210 on that. I like that a lot. I got Vatech plus 210 as well. They're going to be in a dogfight with Pitt. I think if I can win a coin flip game, I like getting 2-1 odds on a coin flip. And then the team that I struggled, the team I don't want to actually win, I like the number. I like the odds. If we didn't see BYU look so bad last week, I think this would be a pick'em game. I do. I think Baylor's really good. I love Dave Aranda, and I want Dave Aranda to continue to find success. But if BYU doesn't step on their dick last week and look just completely happy, just totally foolish, then I think this is really close to a pick'em game. Okay, the fact that they looked just totally discombobulated, they turned the ball over, they committed penalties, they didn't take the ball away, they did all the things you cannot do in a football game, and they got beaten. They got beat bad. They got beat up. All right. That's the first time they've played like that all year. So I'm going to think they're going to get their stuff back together. I get plus 175. I don't like it because I love Dave Aranda and I love what Baylor Bears are doing. I don't ever want to root against them, but I think I throw them on my money line. I basically round robin these teams. And so you can do whatever you want, but that's how I enjoy playing these underdogs. Let's get to some of your questions, guys. Let's roll through some of these. I'm not the best reader in the world. I apologize. I'm going to mispronounce your names. I'm going to misread what you say. So let's just roll through this. Texas at Oklahoma State is one of them. Yeah, somebody brought that up. That's a game I just talked about. Hopefully UT Ole Miss is the most exciting game of the day. Man, I think it's going to be. Go Sparty. I appreciate that. Any thoughts on Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech? See, I should be reading these things while I'm doing the show, but that would be a complete disaster of a show. Nobody would watch that. Minnesota's best player today will be Adrian Martinez. So I kind of got a thought about that. So you know how some guys just have that clutch gene that whenever they got to come up big, they always find a way to do it. We find ourselves in life, in sports, in all kinds of stuff. You always find yourself in situations where you need to make something happen, okay? And it's either you're going to come through and you're going to get on the other side of it and you're going to look amazing, or you're going to screw it up. Okay. Not that I don't think everybody fits in those categories, but I think a lot of people find themselves in either always having that clutch gene or always kind of being the screw up. I'm a little sympathetic to the Adrian Martinez's of the world because I mean, personally in my life, I've just always been the other guy. I've been the guy in the big situation to just always cock it up. I can't explain that. I don't know why. I don't mean to, and I try hard, but I think Adrian Martinez has all the talent in the world to be great. But for some reason, every time his team needs him to make a big play, not only does he not make the big play, but he screws the thing up badly. Like if you gave him 10 suggestions, 10 situations to pick from, and none of them will change his life for the better, but one of them will destroy his life, he's going to pick the one every time. It's tough. It's hard to watch because I like the kid and I root for him, man, because he's got talent. You might be right. You might be right. He might be the best player on Minnesota's team. Everyone's taking Cincinnati plus the 21. Everyone, please take Cincinnati plus the 21. I don't know that I would. Maybe. Here's the thing. I have feelings about this game. We talked about it earlier in the big game preview. I think giving Gus 2 weeks to prepare is tough. But I also think losing your Heisman quarterback, somebody brought that up, is also tough. Cincinnati's killing everybody. That is a complete stay away from me. I just want Cincinnati to get out with a healthy win so that the voters don't have any reason to knock them. But I really like Gus and I love UCF. So let's stay away from there. Somebody giving out picks out here. We got Florida, Iowa, UTSA, 10-point teaser. Good luck to that. I don't play a lot of teasers. Don't see Cincinnati covering. USC lost their Heisman quarterback. There we go. That's what I saw earlier. These lines are tight this week. Teasers might be the move. Man, I just stay away from them. I have a hard time picking one game right. You can give me all the points in the world. I'm still going to pick the wrong side of it all the time. So we'll just move on. TCU plus 13, barking dog today. Appreciate that, Dino. That's what I got as well. I love it. I love it. I love it. Kentucky, Georgia, because Georgia's missing some pieces of their team. Man, I like Kentucky, and I've been called a fool. Somebody said in one of the comments that is the dumbest play of the game. Like, that makes you a complete fool that you like Kentucky plus 22.5. I was like, okay, hold on. You can call me a complete fool if I pick Kentucky to win the game, because that seems asinine. That seems extremely far-fetched, all right? That seems highly unlikely. But the whole purpose of getting a point spread is to try to get 50-50 action on both sides. You're trying to get half the people watching to go one way and the other half to go the other. So to pick either spread in any game to say, oh, that's just the most foolish thing I've ever seen is kind of hyperbole and a little stupid, because the whole purpose of the number is to get people to – now, it might lose. That half the people are going to lose and half the people are going to win, but it can't be the most ridiculous thing that's ever happened in life, right? Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's a little extreme. Cincinnati covers. Ritter's the best quarterback in NCAA. Casey, I think he's up there, and you know how much I love him. I would like to see a bizarro world where Ritter got to play in the offensive system of Lane Kiffin, and Matt Corral got to play in Cincinnati. I think those guys are a lot alike. I think they're very, very similar, by the way. They both cut you up with their legs. They both can throw. Matt Corral right now is doing things that we just can't argue with. He's the best quarterback in football. It's not close, by the way. Look at numbers. If you're not an analytical guy like me and you use your eyeballs, like, it doesn't matter, guys. It just doesn't. Like, he's the best. He's just killing everybody. Even in the Alabama game, his numbers were fine. Like, his numbers were good. They were moving the ball down the field. They just didn't go for any field goals. They kept going for a fourth down. They didn't get those, but he still had no problem in the beginning of the game moving the football on Alabama at Tuscaloosa in that crazy environment. He's the best quarterback in the country. Okay. Ritter's in that conversation, and I absolutely love Ritter. All right, so you got Corral, your number 2. I appreciate that. I had Ritter being my number 1 going into the season. You had Ritter being your number 1. I'm willing to watch with my eyeballs and flip those. You haven't flipped them yet. You will. After today, if Corral hangs another 55 on somebody, are you going to flip? Are you going to give me any love at all with him? So anyway, all right, guys, we're coming to the end of the show. That's it. I appreciate you joining me today. This Saturday's shows are my absolute favorites. Hey, we got new things going on over here at SBR, and I guess picks have been bad. I'm just kidding. It's not because of my terrible picks. I promise you that. I'm going to be with you on Opening Line Show. We don't have a big game preview, so the Opening Line Show is now going to be a much bigger show. It's going to be a little bit, but I can't just give you a lot of picks because that's literally the day the lines open up. All right. I do that show on Sunday evenings. I can't give you picks for the whole week. Maybe this show becomes a much bigger show and I'm throwing out picks last minute before the games start. Not a lot of people can make fun of me as long because you only got a couple of hours for me to look like a fool than instead of the entire week. But I'm so excited to be here. I love this show. I appreciate all of you taking your time to watch. Enjoy this fall Saturday. It is going to be a perfect day here in the Mid-South area. I don't know where you live and what the weather's like here. This is a great fall day. I'm going to enjoy this Saturday. I love you. I appreciate you. For sportsreview.com, my name is Christopher Giannini, and I'll see you next time.